Um, Tell me how, at this point, business development started to weave itself into the story.
Yep. So the previous team had been bringing on sponsors in one manner, right? And
Mm-hmm.
quite honestly, the value of the sponsorship that they had gotten, they weren't paying enough for the value that they were getting. So if you got a stands that, 5, 6, 7,000 people every weekend, you have vendors that are in there selling products. You have banners of sponsors that are there. The value that we were getting from a revenue standpoint wasn't high enough in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So we redeveloped the decks, the presentations for the sponsors, and put
Mm-hmm.
a higher cost on it. We also went out and did a partnership with the local TV station so that they could air our games. And they air tape delayed, but they could air our games. So that's more exposure for the partners
More eyeballs on
more
the
eyeballs. Yeah.
sponsor
Hmm.
content.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We were lucky enough that inside of our packages, and this is something I learned over time, we were repackaging commercial time that was given to the team as a sponsor. So if we had 50 commercials that we were given as a part of the radio station being a part of it, we repackaged and purposed that, and our sponsors are now embedded in there. There's a value to that wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So our packages were different. And then the key thing was going out and getting a title partner.
Mm-hmm.
So a title partner, naming rights on the field, um, exposure. So you are a true partner with the team. We want your employees to come out to the games. We'll give you special discount on tickets, all those things. So we need a big player to be able to really make this fruitful on the financial side. And so for the first year, it was honestly about staying alive and ensuring that we put a good product on the field so that all we had believers in the city.
So how many people did this take, and how much money did this cost? How much does it cost to run a football team? This is before the win, because I know it's a little different after the wins. But right now, how much is this costing? What is this looking like? Because you had just
Okay.
come off a terrible situation.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, let's just put it this way. We moved in 2010, and we're going to do this at a bare bones cost. So if there weren't expenditures we didn't need, we couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, the practice uniforms that we got were the uniforms from the DC team. We were lucky.
Partnership, partnerships, relationships.
Yeah, even better. We had an anonymous donor who bought our uniforms to get onto the field.
Okay.
So we had help from all angles. We started bringing in some sponsor money. I had to put in a lot of money year one, but in general, I would say to run a football team that plays over a 12-week period, um, you it's probably about $500,000
Okay.
to do that.
How many people?
So if you're just going to walk out cash, it costs about $500,000. We're able to reduce the true cash expenditure by sponsorships, by media, um, and by our food and beverage, because we got a significant portion of the food and bev that was sold in the arena, and then ticket sales. So those are the big buckets of dollars that you need in order to make sure you're driving revenue in order to cover your costs.
But that's why having the media was important, to keep the fans engaged, to keep the attendance up, to keep people spending money and sponsors at the table. Correct?
That's correct. Yep, you needed it all. And coming in after a winning franchise, once again, they didn't win any championships, but they had fans in the stands and it was exciting football. You had to put a product out there that looked the part.
Mm-hmm.
And now, mind you, I'm coming off of 2009 where we had 4 wins, knowing that this cannot be a 4-win franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I'm proud of, and I made a bet with the general manager because he said that we're going to be very successful, we're going to win championships, and I was like, I hope so, but just in case, let's tighten up the product and let's make sure we can stay on the field. So
At least break even.
We're working on break even because mind you, when I was vetting the city, I'm also keeping the business hat on. What does the city need? I want to get as close to break even on the team such that I can talk to the city about supporting additional development.
Mm-hmm.
Quite honestly, looking at the city, it looked like my old hometown of Chattanooga, Tennessee, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I've seen the model of how you bring a city, up to, the metropolitan level. And so in my mind, I was already thinking, let's just get the football product ready so that I can go and start talking to the political side in order to try to help redevelop the city.
So you're trying to raise your profile so you can change your position at the table and change the conversation.
That's correct.
Gotcha. So when did the shift take place and it started to be fun? So you're talking about all laying down this foundation and putting all this effort in and building this machine. I know that as we opened, you had all these rings. So when did the tables turn? When did it start getting fun?
Yep. So I'll start with the first game because I was so nervous, and then I'll kind of take you through, how we ended up being successful. So there was a team when we're in DC that beat us so bad. I say it beat us so bad that it broke the bus. So our team took a bus down to Columbus, Georgia, and that week before that we had lost another quarterback. Another quarterback had gotten hurt. So we took a new quarterback down to Columbus, Georgia, who was really a running back that could throw. Mm-hmm. And this is a really fast game. So we went down there to play this team that was, supposed to be really good, but our defense was really good. So, we think we got a chance. I didn't go to that game. I think we lost about 76-6. It's in the books. So we got beat down. And players came back hurt, and then on the way back from Georgia, the bus broke down. So,
that's rough to take, man. That's rough.
Yeah, I think we lost some players that week. So they beat us down and they beat us up on purpose. So guess who the first team the Albany Panthers going to play?
That team.
That team from Columbus, Georgia, which ended up being our biggest rival just because of the proximity of Albany to Columbus. So that's the first game. So I'll be honest, I was nervous. And I had my GM and my coach saying, we've seen them on film. We know our players. We're not nervous.
Mm-hmm. And inside you're like,
we lost by 70 points. We lost by 70 points. No. The team, the last year.
Yeah, so you're remembering that. You're remembering all of that last time with that. You're reliving that.
Yes. And guess what we cannot have as the Albany Panthers on opening night?
Not that loss.
A beat down.
No.
All right. So you
built all this up. You built all this machine, and then you
built it all up.
No.
New team coming in town. Got the new uniforms.
Everybody's glittering. It's all good.
We get the ball first, right? I think first play, little small dump down. Second play, a go, touchdown. I have never been touchdown.
You were screaming like.
I couldn't believe it. Right. So then I'm in. I am in. We won that game.
This is the football lover. Right now, this is the football lover came right out. Just went, hold on.
Yeah, competitor. Like, do we have a competitive product on the field?
Yeah.
I've seen guys throw around and run with nobody hitting them, and I saw our team practicing. Fine. So yeah, so we were off and running year one.
Eyes lit up. My heart got in it. I was in
Yep.
it.
We won. I have the exact record, but I think we won our first 6 games. And we didn't lose a game until we went on the road. And I think when we were there, something happened with our quarterback. Might have gotten injured, during the game, and we ended up losing the game. But it was a good game, right? So the season was great on the field. The season was terrible off the field. We were moving. We got put out of a hotel because our sponsorship deal had ended. All these things were happening. We're looking for sponsors. All these things were happening, but we put a good product on the field. People were starting to come in droves, and we were still seeking our title partner. So we had to keep that happening. So we get to the playoffs. I think we were the number 2 seed, so we had the best record in the league. So it was a 4-team playoff. We got a home game, and a team who had been in the league before, one of the teams that I think had beaten us, I think we lost 2 games, had beaten us during the season, came in as the 4th seed to play us. And it was excitement, fans, everything filled. We lost the game. We lost the game at home. We had a chance to win, on the last play. And I think, the pass got batted down or somewhere. And that team danced on our logo on the middle of the field. So that's how our first season ended. We thought we were going to win a championship the first year. That's how good we were.
You made it down to the wire, but just got snatched at the end.
It was bad too. And they mistreated our field, once they had beaten us. And they went on to play the Columbus team and got beat down. So the Columbus team ended up winning the championship that year. But for us and me, because I was going to reassess all of this at the end of the season to see where we were and determine whether we were going to even play a year or two. Mm-hmm. Because I knew we'd have to have more financial resources, more sponsorship, more tickets. So we immediately went to what does year 2 look like mode for the season.
But you had created the machine, you had the look and the feel, and now the business needed to catch up. The business side needed to catch up with what was going on the field. That's correct. So is the second year the year of the beginning of the rings, or was it the third year?
It's the second year. So we named the second year Unfinished Business.
This is you with your themes, right? This is one of your. Yep. Why do you use themes, and why did you do that? What's the power in that?
So I think you need a rallying cry for the troops, and for me, it felt like unfinished business, not only on the field, but in what we were trying to do off the field. But we had T-shirts made up. Now, before I got the T-shirts made up, I was pulled to the side and told, "Hey, just letting you know, we've had a season what we called unfinished business before, and we still didn't finish the business." And I said, "New team, new owner, new general manager, new head coach. We need to finish this business this year." So we got the T-shirts made. So we enter the season.
Indicative of the overall theme.
Yes.
I'm going to kick butt.
Yeah, we need to finish this, and we need to finish everything that we started in year 1. Sponsorships, growing attendance. We were working on a new deal with the city. So we were going to try to get a better rate for the venue and a better return for our percentage of food service.
So you revisited the agreements to improve the profitability.
Yeah. Yes. So I understood it at that point. These are the things we need to do in order to get better. And we were going to have to renegotiate and discuss this with the city. So the politics were all involved there. And mind you, I had also at that point found a partner who was going to help us redevelop the city. So
revisit the link between the team. Again, this is about raising your profile to change your position so you can change the conversation. During the season, was this an ongoing conversation, or did you kind of wait until you got to the playoffs, had raised your profile, and then re-entered the conversation? So how was that working?
Well, that first season was a lot of meeting, introducing myself to people, shaking hands.
Because everybody loves people winning. When you're winning, they all want to talk to you.
Yep, and they want to come to the game because there are teams in the league. Yeah, but there were teams in the league that in the first year that didn't make it. So there are teams that were having financial difficulties, and it showed in the product on the field. So we could not be that. We had to at least look and make the experience at the game the best experience in the league. And we actually, that first year, we won an award from the league for having the best experience. We had a band, we had cheerleaders,
it was a good looking thing. It was good looking.
They were great. They were great. Met so many people, I still, consider friends to this day. So the experience when you got there was one of general wanting to win, but being hospitable. There were, in the past, some racial tensions in that area, between the city and the county and all those things. But when people were in the venue, everybody was for the Panthers.
So was there intention on your part, CEO mindset? You're looking at all the pieces. Are those relationships that you built through the desire of people to be around the winner? Was that intentional? Did you have an agenda?
I did not have an agenda for fans or people that were just there. My agenda was more with city management, city council, and those things. And they were great people too. But my role there was to help them understand that Albany, Georgia could be an entertainment capital based on where it sits. And if you like this product, then imagine what an expansion of something like this could be. You're bringing in jobs, you're having opportunities for people to move to the city, new tax base, all of these things is where the showing of this experience could grow. So that was the model that I was trying to set, and that was the discussion that I was trying to have, knowing that it would have to be outside funding to come in to help that happen. So
that's the real estate or the other development conversation to bring money into the city to be able to support this initiative.
That's correct.
Built around, interestingly enough, a franchise football team. Like the impetus of the conversation was around a winning team, and around that nucleus, you were thinking, what can I attract to that nucleus? Correct?
Yeah, because there's no discussion without a winning franchise. There's no discussion. So we had established we can win on the field. We made it to the playoffs. Now we want to talk about what can we do in a bigger manner, with the Civic Center being, ground zero for all of this development. Because my background is not football. My background is events, entertainment, and those things. And I have enough relationships that we can bring people down here to grow the entertainment piece of it. But what I needed them to think about was, what do we want this to be? So we laid out plans for renewable energy, solar energy to be the key ingredient for developing downtown. And behind the scenes of all the football things that were happening, I had an investor willing to bring in up to $200 million into Albany, Georgia through renewable energy. and the money that was coming off of the renewable energy would be put right back into the city to buy historic buildings and repurpose those buildings, build hotels, and build places for when people came into the city for entertainment, before and after, they could partake in the things that were happening there. Full-blown plan.
Well, excuse my naivete, but how do you make money off of that scenario? Like how are you seeing your role? Are you part owner in all of these other things? Like what makes a good developer?
Yeah.
What's the
so yes. So we would be, I'll say in simplicity, we would be a co-developer in all of this. And so we would have a piece of what the development
so that would be a separate entity, right? So that would be separate entity would be stood up to be able to engage in these conversations and benefit or create partnerships, but through a separate entity.
And we did that.
Okay.
Yep. So we set up two entities. One was a management company, and the other was the solar development company. And so, people can look at the books. We have Flint River Solar Farms, Flint River Road through Albany, Georgia. And so Flint River Solar Farms was our solar entity in which we partnered with that larger investor to bring dollars. And they came down there several times to meet with city management to confirm that they were interested and they wanted to do those things. So we were working behind the scenes. I was leading most of that effort, but it was a political effort in order to try to rebuild the city.